I want to talk today about some simple home procedures that we can use for relief of lateral hip pain. So that's pain on the outside of the hip. And it can come from a number of different causes. So you've got a bursa, balloon-like structure on the outside of the hip. You have a variety of muscles. You have a structure called the iliotibial band, which stretches from the hip down to the knee. And we can relieve the pain sometimes by doing a stretching exercise which will affect the muscle and cause some sliding of the iliotibial band to a certain degree. So let's have a look at two simple stretches that we can use for lateral hip pain or pain on the outside of the hip, in runners often referred to as a runner's hip. So for the first exercise, we're going to use a simple yoga movement where I'm going to bend my knee and just stretch. So I'm starting off sitting with my legs straight. I draw one leg across me. The other leg, which is the one I want to stretch, I'm going to bend. And when I do that, I feel that stretch across the outside of the hip. And all I'm going to do is to pull my knee in towards my opposite shoulder and sit up straight. So it's this movement, and I can feel that stretch right down the outside of my leg. So this is stretch number one, and it's called the cow's head posture in yoga, and it's for, it's half of that procedure because we're just doing it on the leg. But that is our movement. If you find that that's a little bit too much of a stretch, then just bend your knee across the other leg at shin level, and then we can pull our knee across. And you can often combine that in yoga with a twist. And this twist, you would use your elbow and push this way, or I can use my hand and push that way. So I'm getting a combination of stretch from the outside of the hip and also getting some stretch on my trunk. And if you find that that is too much for you, then again we can calm it down. We can rest it simply by crossing the legs and pulling that knee round without bending the hip. So I'm turning away from the stretch now, and I can feel that stretching down the outside of the hip. So three simple movements where we're crossing the legs, we're adducting the hip and putting on a little bit of overpressure, either up high, down mid-shin, or with the leg straight. We're going to look at a second simple exercise to do now to stretch the outside of the leg, and the previous ones we've done with the leg bent. Now we're going to use a belt to stretch with the legs straight. So I've got a yoga belt here, but it could be any, a luggage strap or any long belt that you've got. I'm going to lie down on the floor, and then I'm going to straighten my leg and hook the belt around my foot. Once I'm in that position, I can stretch the leg out to the side this way, and that would be stretching my adductor muscles or into the groin, or I can stretch this way, and now I'm stretching right down the side of that leg all the way down to the knee. And I want to keep my hip pushed down towards the floor as I hold that movement. Okay, so that's a simple stretch for the outside structures of the leg, so along the iliotibial band and the structures which feed into that, and we can maintain that stretch position. Now, when you're holding it with the belt, obviously you can relax to a certain degree, but if you find that that is too much for you, then you can simply take yourself towards a wall, and as you take your leg across, you can place your foot on the wall, and you are in the same position, but some of the leg weight goes through the wall. Okay, so that's a straight leg stretch for the structures on the outside